We've spent a lot of time talking about osmosis, and it's because of how important it is to living processes. Now today we're going to focus on one form of osmosis that occurs only in plants, and this form of osmosis is called plasmolysis. Now we have looked at what happens to a cell when it is placed inside different liquid environments, you remember. Environments like a hypertonic solution, a hypotonic solution, and an isotonic solution. Now, if a plant cell is placed inside a hypertonic solution, what happens to the cell is called plasmolysis. So let us define plasmolysis in a very simple statement that we can understand. Plasmolysis is the movement of water out of the plant cell when that cell is placed in a hypertonic solution. Plasmolysis is often regarded as the opposite of osmosis, but this is a mistake, okay? It's not true. The opposite of plasmolysis is actually cytolysis. Okay, and that is the inward movement of water into the plant cell. Now, if water moves out of the plant cell during plasmolysis, what happens to that cell? For us to understand and answer that question, let us look at the structure of a plant. You remember that one of the distinct features of a plant cell is the presence of a cell wall, okay? The cellulose cell wall, and this surrounds the protoplasm of the plant cell. Now, the cellulose cell wall is permeable to water and other molecules. If a plant cell is placed inside a hypertonic solution, I'm sure you can guess what will happen. The water will move from the cell into the solution, and this will cause the pressure inside of the cell to decrease to the point where the protoplasm of the cell starts to peel away from the cell wall. And this leaves a gap between the cell wall and the membrane and makes the plant shrink and crumple. Now, do you know why the cellulose cell wall is not affected? Now remember, we mentioned in earlier lessons that the cellulose cell wall is rigid and it even has the strength of steel, so it is not affected. However, if you continue to decrease that pressure, okay, due to the outward flow of water, eventually you will lead to something called cytolysis. Now, cytolysis is the complete collapse of the cell wall. And when this happens, we say that the cell is plasmolyzed. And this will eventually lead to the wilting and even sadly the death of the entire plant. Now in the next lesson, we'll be looking at another form of osmosis, but this one is common to only animal cells. See you then.